world at safelight.com. They didn't have to change their plans or worry about a thing.
I'll see you in a little bit.
And I fixed it right away with a strong repair they can trust. Plus, with most insurance, a Safelight repair is no cost to you.
Really?
Being there whenever you need us, that's another.
Drive away in a new Ford at our lowest prices of the year. It's model year-end closeout time at Alpaca Ford Royal Palm Beach and Alpaca Ford West Palm Beach. Get our biggest discounts on every new Ford.
Drive a new Focus, now just $15,455 or $169 a month. Or a new EcoSport, just $18,455 or $159 a month.
In Royal Palm Beach and West Palm Beach. And remember,
before you buy, price Packer.
Do you hear that?
No.
It's quiet. Too quiet. Xfinity Home cameras.
Xfinity Home gives you an extra pair of eyes to help watch over your family. Plus, you have added peace of mind from 24/7 professional monitoring. Xfinity Home. Simple, easy, awesome.
650-0784. Call now for your free information kit.
911 emergency.
A lot of things can change in an investigation, but the weather never lies.
Storm of Suspicion. All new episodes Sunday nights at 8.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, some clouds, low 78. Winds south at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 89. Chance of rain 80%. Thursday night, late night thunderstorms. Low 76. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Tornado warning in the metro Atlanta area on the northern outer band of Hurricane Michael, which is centered over southwestern Georgia. But these outer bands are usually the places where we see tornadoes, and they can ramp up in a hurry. They might not last all that long, but they can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So looking way to the north of the center of Matthew and very close to the center of Atlanta is where we have this tornado warning. So this is in effect in between downtown Atlanta and Hartsfield Airport, and that's where this velocity signature crossed I-75, and then that was seen by the Weather Service on the radar, and they issued this tornado warning. So you can see that that signature going through this area, and this is I-20 right here coming west of downtown Atlanta. Here's 285 on the west side of town. East Point, College Park, and then the airport is just south of there. So this is the area where we've seen signatures in the radar of rotation, and we've even seen signatures of there being debris on the ground. So there it is. There's the correlation coefficient showing you the debris signature, and that is an indication, even though we haven't had visual confirmation of the tornado, this is an indication that there could be damage being done with debris being thrown up into the air that the radar can see. So this was at 6:40 p.m. just east of Cascade Heights, and now it's gone farther to the west. There we are, just east of 285. So I would urge folks, if you're hearing this, if you're seeing this warning, and you're on 285 on the west side, just south of Interstate 20, and you're about to head into that area, don't continue driving. You don't want to be driving on that interstate when a tornado comes by. It's a very, very dangerous situation, and then if you are in this tornado warning, you want to be finding safe shelter inside, lowest level, most interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. These are portions of Cobb, Douglas, and Fulton County. So we've got another new scan here, and if you look at maybe the signature has weakened a little bit as it has crossed 285 now, going farther to the west. So this is very close to the Six Flags area, right, where it's just south of Interstate 20. So let's time it out for you and see what communities are in perhaps harm's way. Now, that Fulton County Airport is just to the west of 285 and just to the north of 20. Okay, that could be just about upon you right now. But then looking farther to the west, areas that could experience this include Douglasville by 7:14 p.m. But even before that, Furniture City at 7:03, Lithia Springs at 7:07. Okay, and then if it were to hold together, you got Douglas County Memorial out there at about 1/4 the hour. So we'll keep an eye on this one. These tropical cyclone-induced tornadoes, Jen Carfagno, can happen anywhere in that right front quadrant. And this is kind of way into the front, but you're on the right side and still could experience tornadoes there. And we're going to be dealing with this hazard in Georgia and the Carolinas for the next couple of days.
Yeah, and Dr. Nava, I was watching that one cell, which is off the east coast of Florida, actually, not too far from Fernandina Beach, over the water, not affecting any land, but still had some circulation in it. There was a special marine warning, and it's always those outer two bands that seem to bring the most potential for rotation, and you always watch in that right front quadrant, which, by the way, Tallahassee, we're still in, on the right side or the wrong side of the hurricane, but we're still on that side of the storm. So you got to be aware of that. And as Dr. Knapp talked about, it's the quick spin-ups that get you, right? Because you don't often have a lot of warning with these induced tornadoes here when it comes to landfalling tropical systems. I do want to talk about the winds here. They've been coming down a little bit, but they've still been very gusty. So still warn about continuing power outages. In addition to what we have, we're up to about 63,000 in the city of Tallahassee. But then, of course, in Leon County, which is a larger area, we've got more than 80,000. So there are a lot of customers without power here. And reminder of, if you've been out with power for 4 hours or more, the stuff in your refrigerator probably is not going to be good. Your freezer can be cold for 24 hours if it's half full, 48 hours if it's completely filled, but after that, then you're going to start losing food. So hopefully you have your dry goods and your supplies to get you through this. Let's go back down to Panama City Beach and get an update with Alex Wilson. Alex, what's new there that you're finding out after the storm?
Yeah, Jen, we've actually moved from Panama City Beach into Panama City, so farther to the east than Panama City Beach. And here the damage is much more widespread. We've seen a lot of problems. Of course, we had that wind gust of 116 miles per hour. This is a truck service shop where you can see the outer brick wall was actually toppled by the winds. That outer brick wall then took over these trucks. So this one's, toppled on its side. This one's barely holding it in place, and this is just some of the damage. You can see actually some of this the sheets of metal that have come off the roof, and some of the bricks also taken here. We're going to show you much more of what's happened here in Panama City, where, by the way, a curfew goes into effect at 8 o'clock local time. We've got much more as our coverage of Hurricane Michael continues next.
Never-ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks. Only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
Today we're here to talk about trucks.
I love trucks.
Well, what truck brand comes from the family of the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road?
I think it's the Chevy.
Ford.
It's not Ford.
I think it's Ram.
It's not Ram either.
It's
Chevy.
Gorgeous.
Get a total value of $10,000 when you finance with GM Financial. That's 20% below MSRP on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
If a dirty CPAP is making you sick, you're not alone.
I was getting sinus infections because I wasn't cleaning my CPAP properly. And that continued until I got my SoClean.
SoClean is the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria that can build up in your mask, hose, and reservoir.
I don't have to push a button or anything. I just put the mask in the chamber, close the lid, and it runs automatically. SoClean has been a lifesaver.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks. Try it risk-free for 30 days. Even shipping is free. Call 1-800-426-0836 to take advantage of this limited time offer.
If you get a CPAP machine, don't even take it home until you have your SoClean machine right with it, because they are a marriage made in heaven.
Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. Even shipping is free. Call 1-800-426-0836 or go to trysoclean.com.
I never knew there was a different solution to my constipation until my doctor recommended Miralax.
Stimulant laxatives forcefully stimulate the nerves in your colon. Miralax works with the water in your body, unblocking your system naturally.
Save up to $7 on Miralax. See Sunday's paper.
Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh ham has no added nitrates, or artificial preservatives. Now, Deli Fresh flavor is for everyone, like those who like sweet, those who prefer heat, and those who just love meat. Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh, a fresh way to deli.
Why bother mastering something? Because when you want to create an entirely new feeling, the difference between excellence and mastery is all the difference in the world. Introducing the all-new Lexus ES, a product of mastery. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
I don't keep track of regrets. I never count the wrinkles. And I don't add up the years. But what I do count on is staying happy and healthy. So I add protein, vitamins, and minerals to my diet with Boost.
New Boost High Protein Nutritional Drink now has 33% more high-quality protein, along with 26 essential vitamins and minerals your body needs, all with guaranteed great taste.
The upside? I'm just getting started.
Boost High Protein. Be up for life.
A Category 4 making landfall.
These winds are just crushing right now. Buildings are now being overtaken by water.
We're going downhill quick.
Really amazing that we've gotten something this strong.
I'm meteorologist Alex Wilson live in Panama City, Florida, one of the harder hit areas by that western eye wall of Hurricane Michael as it's made its way on shore earlier today, 116-mile-per-hour gusts. And in this community, much more in the way of widespread damage. You know, we just showed you that truck service station that was toppled over, plenty of downed wires, and that's still a hazard, even though these aren't powered. We actually just saw somebody get injured. They were walking along the street, basically didn't see the power line, and it caught them by the neck. So we've got police crews here on the scene offering aid. But, you know, this is the norm here. And Juan's showing you as we make our way here, these down power lines. And again, they're tough to see, which is why they don't want people out walking around and driving around, because it's tough to make them out. This is actually a Cricket wireless store that you can see all of the windows are completely blown out. And when we look in here, you can actually see the sample phones that they let you try are basically dangling at this point, kind of like wind chimes. They're moving in the wind. We go farther down the line, and you can see still within this store that we've got all the accessories that are for sale still hanging. Some of them, obviously, some of them have been taken down. You can see the counter, essentially. Front windows all blown in, front door blown in. Here, these cars rode out the storm, but not very well. And Juan, we're watching you because we've got some wood here, but you can see plenty of broken glass. Actually, the liner of the car roof was pulled away by the wind. And here another car where the back window is totally blown out, and where we're also dealing with some of those sheet metal that's sticking around. But again, a look inside just one of the businesses here along U.S. Highway 98. So this is the stretch of roadway that you would use to get from Panama City Beach into the Panama City area. And we've got plenty of businesses now that are completely, you know, shattered, some gutted. We saw our service station completely toppled in, and then widespread trees are down. You know, we look across 98 and you can see more trees down than still remain standing. And there's actually residential damage here as well. About a block or two away, we've seen roofs to apartments peeled back, and unfortunately people now left with just basically, you know, the shell of a home, almost like a dollhouse where you can look down into it and the walls are exposed. We've got the police driving around because a curfew is going to begin at 8 o'clock local time. There have been a ton of people out here looking around, you know, checking the damage. We even talked to one man who was trying to get to his mother's house, but was having trouble because of all the downed trees and also all the downed power lines. You've got to assume if you find a downed power line and you don't see anybody walking near it, you don't want to get out and just assume the power's off there. So he did the right thing by staying away from that. But, you know, now the worry is these people are trying to get to loved ones or find out if loved ones are okay. And of course, there's always that danger when you're walking around. You can't see. There's 2x4s on the ground. Here we've got some kind of nozzle. So this is what's still out there. And once it gets dark, it's going to be really tough to see. This sheet metal with obviously nails poking out from it. This is why you don't want to be walking around. Plenty of broken glass. And so the police are driving around trying to keep people from going out and sightseeing until it's safe to do so. Widespread power outages here across the community. Again, we've seen more police vehicles and emergency vehicles than anything else, but it's been a really tough afternoon here in the Panama City area. And with those winds gusting around 116 miles an hour before the instrument broke, you can understand why we've got the problem. Tevin Wooten is in Tallahassee, obviously that community bracing for the worst, and their main threat, similar to what we've seen here in Panama City, Tevin, down trees. We've heard of some areas here where there isn't a tree left standing.
Yeah, Alex, this place, we've been here for the better part of 24, maybe 36 hours. And this place is known for its towering canopy oaks until they come down. And then, of course, it's a different site here. And this is what we're seeing so far in Tallahassee. Through a lot of the roads here, you'll see a lot of smaller limbs and debris sort of coming down from the pine trees and the canopy oaks. But occasionally, you'll come across something like this. And this is a concern for the residents when we talk about the power outages. Take a look at this behind me. You've got this tree limb here. It is dangling on the power line, so you know the power is out. The tree is, for the most part, snapped from the trunk right over here. And these trunks aren't that wide, maybe about 1.5 to 2 feet wide, some of them a little bit more than that. But that's actually where it came from. And that's just for that one that fell on that power line. There's another one I want to show you. And this is a site for many neighborhoods here. In fact, the city crews don't know the extent of the damage. They are conducting the surveys right now, but occasionally you get a wind gust that's around 35 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour, and so they have to stop what they're doing because they can't come out here when conditions don't warrant. Take a look at this tree here. Okay, snapped from the base, and then the root system just ripped up out of the ground, fell right on top of the power lines there, and that's a concern here because you do get the wind gusts that come through. That's still ongoing, even though Michael is racing to the north and east, and a lot of people are trying to wrap this thing up and put the bow on it. You can't just yet, because the winds continue to pick up. The trees are certainly, easily can give in. The ground's saturated, so it doesn't take a lot. In fact, we heard a loud crack, our crew did, and then we saw a tree actually come down. It was probably about 60 to 70 yards away from us, so we were certainly well away from the danger zone there. But for the residents here, heads up. If you know that you have a tree that's old or if the ground is saturated like it is for many parts of Tallahassee, heads up, because we've seen tree limbs come through people's roofs, pierce the roof there, and then several sections of the city that have those towering pine trees or the canopy oaks, those are still just wobbling every which way, just dancing back and forth every which way as the wind blows. We do know about 63,000 people are without power here in Tallahassee. Right now, the mayor himself and his staff, they are going through conducting sort of an initial survey that they can take back to the utility crews so they can then come out here and then start to do the cut and toss, take this debris out of here and get the power lines and the journeyman linemen back out here so they can get the power back on sooner rather than later. So, of course, it goes without saying, but we're going to say it anyway. Stay off of the roadways. There are still some power lines that are down. You don't know if that wire is live or if it's hot or not. And so it's just best to stay in altogether. Dr. Nab, and I know that you know this, dealing with tropical storms and tropical entities in your entire career here. And so for a lot of people at home, they're ready to get back out. We've seen some people out, but don't right now. I mean, if you pull up Google Maps, by the way, it says pretty much every road in Tallahassee, every major thoroughfare is closed right now.
Yeah, terrible time to be out on the roads for so many reasons. You could still get a gust that brings a tree down, and if you're out on the roads and that hits your car, you know that's not going to be good news. And there's so much that could be down on the roads, debris, there could be down power lines. Just really, really important to stay indoors. Let's update you on what we know based on everything that's happened today so far. We have, unfortunately, sad news to report, one confirmed death from Hurricane Michael in Gadsden County, Florida. And we'll get you more details on that as we know them. This is the third most intense U.S. landfalling hurricane. 294,000 plus customers without power. The damage from both the wind and the surge expected to be catastrophic, and we will expect the numbers of people without power to rise significantly in the coming hours and days. Florida's Governor Rick Scott is asking the White House to declare a major disaster for the state of Florida, and the president is scheduled to tour the damage next week. Florida did prepare more than 1.5 million ready-to-eat meals, 1 million gallons of water ready to be distributed as the recovery process gets underway. And of course, there are still a lot of people who are still in harm's way. We still have winds and water to contend with, and people in many parts of Georgia and the Carolinas need to be taking this very, very seriously. For some of you, the event is just beginning. Now, Hurricane Michael is no longer a major hurricane. The winds are at 100 miles per hour now, Category 2, pressure at 950 millibars, moving north-northeast at 13 miles an hour. But Michael is not done with the coast. You can see there on the left-hand side of your screen down in St. Marks in the Big Bend area of Florida, still some high water levels. There's still a storm surge warning in effect down there because you still have onshore flow on the south side of Hurricane Michael. So it's going to be a while before it is safe to get anywhere near the coast. Look at that water. Okay, this is normally dry ground, not usually covered by the salt water, but St. Mark's, a few miles inland from the immediate coast of the Gulf of Mexico, one of the most vulnerable spots in our country to storm surge. It flooded due to storm surge in Hurricane Hermine a couple of years ago, and now with Michael again receiving storm surge flooding. The radar depiction shows you how expansive the rainfall shield is from this, extending all the way from the Florida Big Bend area up to northern Florida, even north of Atlanta, where we had that short-lived tornado warning. Got a few flash flood warnings in effect. The inland part of this story is starting to unfold, and this will be one of the most life-threatening aspects of Michael from this point forward. Flash flood warning is in effect for Baker, Calhoun, and Randolph counties there in southwestern Georgia and southeastern Alabama. That's in effect till 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. And then one just next door includes portions of Alabama, the Dothan, Alabama area in this warning, as is the Bainbridge, Georgia area. Flash flood warning till 8:45 Eastern time. And we still have this large flash flood warning in effect. We're mostly concerned about the northern side of it along Interstate 10 in the Chipley and Mariana areas, but there still could be high water from the previous rains of Hurricane Michael. Now, the track of Michael takes it through central Georgia as it bends around to the right and loses some more strength. By early tomorrow morning, should be a tropical storm, but that tropical storm, Michael, will be going through the Carolinas. And we will have the heavy rainfall and inland winds to contend with. Got some damage imagery to show you here. This is from Panama City Beach. Watch this. Watch what happens to this roof as the winds on the western eye wall of Hurricane Michael take their toll. This was earlier today. Of course, the center of circulation came ashore just to the southeast of Panama City Beach, in between there and Apalachicola, but this isn't even the strongest part of Hurricane Michael. This is the western eye wall, but strong enough to cause plenty of damage. Look at the debris flying around in the wind. Look at that. It's not just about the wind, it's about what's flying around in the wind. Tremendous wind speeds here. A lot of power outages in Bay County, where Panama City Beach is located. And once the roof is compromised, then the interior of the structure is going to take a lot more damage from the winds and the water. So, Bettis, Mike Bettis, who's in Apalachicola, speaking of damage, wow, you've got some water concerns down there, and the water hasn't completely receded yet.
No, not totally. And so the Apalachicola River is still out of its banks, and it's made some good progress today. But when you have record-setting surge, it's going to take some time for that water to go back out. The good news is we got more of a northerly component to the wind now, so a northwest wind instead of a strong south wind, which brought in all the water. So now we're going to gradually start to push the water out, and that's really good news. And I think probably by tomorrow, almost all the water will be back into the Apalachicola River. One of the things we were dealing with the really gusty winds today, winds were gusting almost 90 miles an hour, is we had a lot of trees that came down. We had branches that came down. We've had power lines that have come down. I lost power early in the day today, but the cleanup in some instances has already begun. If you look behind me, some folks are actually out here for the past couple of hours actually making now piles of debris. And eventually what will happen is the county or the city or the state will come in. It just depends on who they assign it. And they'll come in with big machinery and they'll pick up all of everyone's piles of debris and then they'll take it off to a different location. But that's what's going to happen here. Tomorrow's going to be a full day of cleanup, and the day after that will be a full day of cleanup. Now, we don't have catastrophic damage here. I don't want to paint that picture whatsoever, but a few structures that have sustained a little bit of damage, a little bit of roof damage. We've seen some roofs that were peeled off of some structures, but by and large, that's more the exception than the rule, okay? As far as injuries that go here, no injuries as reported by the sheriff, so Franklin County injury-free at this point. I think that's amazing news. Now, I will say this, they haven't had an opportunity to get out to St. George Island, which is the barrier island off of Apalachicola here, to assess the damage there, and they may be able to do that tomorrow, assuming that the bridge is in good shape. The other thing to consider, we've got a curfew in effect. It's a dusk to dawn curfew here in Franklin County. Will include Apalachicola, so at this point, everyone needs to be in a safe location tonight and not be out on the roads. A lot of people, once the weather improved, got out on the roads and they started looking around. But high winds today, record-setting storm surge for us, and in combination, it meant a pretty devastating blow here to the Big Bend of Florida, one of the hardest hits we've ever had from a hurricane. Well, when you consider it's a Category 4 with bottoming out pressures to make it landfall, you've got to assume that bad things are going to happen. I think a long legacy with this one as it now tracks, excuse me, up into the Carolinas. Alex Wilson is in Panama City. Alex, close to that eye, in fact, along that western eye wall, where you're maximizing the winds, right in the eye wall. All right, we're not going to go to Alex. I apologize. We'll check in with Alex here in just a moment, okay? In the meantime, folks, why don't you stick around because we got a lot more coverage for you to come here on the Weather Channel, including checking in with Alex in Panama Beach. Also going to talk a little bit more about Tallahassee and then points beyond that as we take you to Georgia and the Carolinas. Stick around for our continuing coverage right here on the Weather Channel.